Hello, all you wonderful listeners. We are on to Chapter 8, The Search for the Wicked Witch. I want to read one chapter tonight. I'm not feeling the best, but I think I can get through one chapter and I'll release this tonight. And I will finish The Wizard of Oz, hopefully tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Let's get started. Chapter 8, The Search for the Wicked Witch. The soldier with the green whiskers led them through the streets of the Emerald City until they reached the room where the guardian of the gates lived. This officer unlocked their spectacles and put them back in his great box, and then he politely opened the gate for them. "Which road leads to the Wicked Witch of the West?" asked Dorothy. "There is no road," answered the guardian of the gates. "No one ever wishes to go that way." "How, then, are we to find her?" inquired the girl. "Well, that will be easy," replied the man, "for when she knows you're in the country of the Winkies, she will find you and make you all her slaves." "Perhaps not," said the Scarecrow, "for we mean to destroy her." "Oh, that is different," said the guardian of the gates. "No one has ever destroyed her before, so I naturally thought she would make slaves of you, as she has the rest. Keep to the west, where the sun sets, and you cannot fail to find her." They thanked him and bade him good-bye, and turned toward the west, walking over fields of soft grass. Dorothy still wore the pretty silk dress that she put on in the palace, but now, to her surprise, she found it was no longer green, but pure white. The ribbon around Toto's neck had also lost its green color and was as white as Dorothy's dress. The Emerald City was soon left far behind. As they advanced, the ground became rougher and hillier, and the ground was untilled. In the afternoon, the sun shone hot in their faces, for there were no trees to offer them shade. So that before night, Dorothy and Toto and the lion were tired, and lay down upon the grass as they fell asleep, with the Tin Woodman and the Scarecrow keeping watch. Now the Wicked Witch of the West had but one eye, yet she was as powerful as a telescope, and could see everywhere. So as she sat in the door of her castle, she happened to look around and saw Dorothy lying asleep, with her friends all about her. The Wicked Witch was angry to find them in her country, so she blew upon a silver whistle that hung around her neck. At once there came a running to her from all directions a pack of great wolves, and a flock of wild crows came flying toward her, enough to darken the sky. "Go to those people," said the witch, "peck out their eyes and tear them to pieces." The wolf pack dashed away at full speed, and the crows flew after them. It was lucky the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman were wide awake and heard them coming. The Tin Woodman seized his axe, and as the wolves came on the Tin Woodman, he swung his axe until 40 wolves lay dead in a heap before him. The Scarecrow stood up and stretched out his arms, and when the crows saw him, they were frightened. But they flew at the Scarecrow, who caught them by their heads and twisted their necks until at last all were lying dead beside him. When the Wicked Witch looked out again, she saw all her wolves and crows lying in a heap. She got into a terrible rage and blew 3 times upon her silver whistle. Forthwith there was a great buzzing in the air, and a swarm of black bees came flying toward her. "Go to the strangers and sting them to death," commanded the witch, and the bees flew rapidly to where Dorothy and her friends were walking. But the Tin Woodman had seen them coming, and the Scarecrow had decided what to do. "Take out my straw and scatter it over the little girl and the dog and the lion," he said to the Tin Woodman, "and the bees cannot sting them." This the Tin Woodman did, and as Dorothy lay close beside the lion and held Toto in her arms, the straw covered them entirely. The bees came and found no one but the Tin Woodman to sting, so they flew at him and broke off all their stings against the tin without hurting the Tin Woodman at all. And bees cannot live without their stings. That was the end of the black bees. Then Dorothy and the lion got up, and the girl helped the Tin Woodman put the straw back into the scarecrow again. So they started upon their journey once more. The wicked witch was so angry when she saw her black bees in little heaps like fine coal that she stamped her foot and tore her hair and gnashed her teeth. She could not understand how all her plans to destroy these strangers had failed, but she soon made up her mind on how to act. There was in her cupboard a charmed golden cap. Whomever owned it could call 3 times upon the winged monkeys, who would obey any order they were given. Twice already the wicked witch had used the charm of the cap, but she saw there was only one way left to destroy Dorothy and her friends, so the wicked witch took the golden cap from her cupboard and placed it upon her head. Then she spoke the charm. The sky darkened, and a low rumbling sound was heard. There was a rushing of many wings, a great chattering and laughing, and the witch was surrounded by a crowd of monkeys, each with a pair of powerful wings. One, much bigger than the others, seemed to be their leader. He flew close to the witch and said, "You have called us for the third and last time. What do you command?" "Go to the strangers and destroy all except the lion," said the wicked witch. "Bring that beast to me, for I have a mind to make him work." "Your command shall be obeyed," said the leader. The winged monkeys flew away to the place where Dorothy and her friends were walking. Some of the monkeys seized the Tin Woodman and carried him through the air and dropped him on sharp rocks. Others caught the scarecrow and pulled all the straw out of his clothes and head. They threw his clothes into the branches of a tall tree. The remaining monkeys wound many coils of rope around the lion until he was unable to bite or scratch or struggle in any way. Then they lifted him up and flew him away to the witch's castle. But Dorothy they did not harm at all. The leader of the winged monkeys flew up to her, but he saw the mark of the good witch's kiss and dared not harm her. So carefully and gently they lifted Dorothy in their arms and carried her to the castle. Then the leader said to the witch, "We have obeyed you as far as we are able. The Tin Woodman and the Scarecrow are destroyed, and the lion is tied up in your yard. The little girl we dare not harm, nor the dog she carries in her arms. Your power over our band is now ended." Then the winged monkeys flew into the air and were soon out of sight. The wicked witch was worried when she saw the mark on Dorothy's forehead, for she knew she dared not hurt the girl in any way. She looked down at Dorothy's feet and, seeing the silver shoes, began to tremble with fear. But she saw in the child's eyes that the little girl didn't know of the wonderful power the silver shoes gave her. So the wicked witch said to Dorothy harshly, "Come with me, and see that you don't mind everything I tell you, for if you do not, I will make an end of you as I did the Tin Woodman and the Scarecrow." Dorothy followed her through the castle until they came to the kitchen, where the witch bade her clean the pots and the kettles and to sweep the floor and keep the fire fed with wood. With Dorothy hard at work, the witch thought she would go into the courtyard and harness the cowardly lion like a horse. But as she opened the gate, the lion gave a loud roar and bounded at her fiercely. So after that she took no food to the imprisoned lion. But every day she came to the gate at noon and asked, "Are you ready to be harnessed like a horse?" And the lion would answer, "No. If you come in this yard, I will bite you." The reason the lion did not have to do as the witch asked was that every night while the woman was asleep, Dorothy carried him food. Then he and Dorothy tried to plan some way to escape, but they could find no way to get out of the castle. Now the wicked witch had a great longing to have her own the silver shoes which the girl always wore, but the child never took them off except at night and when she took her bath. The witch was too much afraid of the dark to dare go into Dorothy's room at night to take the shoes, and her dread of water was greater than her fear of the dark. So she never came near when Dorothy was bathing. Indeed, the old witch never touched water, nor ever let water touch her in any way. But the wicked creature was very cunning, and she finally thought of a trick that would give her what she wanted. She placed a bar of iron in the middle of the kitchen floor, and then, by her magic arts, made the iron invisible to human eyes, so that when Dorothy walked across the floor, she stumbled over the bar and fell. One of the silver shoes came off, and before Dorothy could reach it, the witch had snatched it and put it in her on her own skinny foot. The wicked woman was greatly pleased, for as long as she had one of the shoes, she owned half the power of her charm, and Dorothy couldn't use it against her, even if she had known how to do so. The little girl, seeing she had lost one of her pretty shoes, grew angry, and said to the witch, "Give me back my shoe." "I will not," retorted the witch, "for it is my shoe now, and not yours, and some day I shall get the other one from you too." This made Dorothy very angry, that she picked up a bucket of water that stood near and dashed it over the witch, wetting her from head to foot. Instantly the wicked woman gave a loud cry of fear, and then, as Dorothy looked at her in wonder, the witch began to shrink and fall away. "See what you've done!" she screamed. In a minute I shall melt away." "I'm very sorry indeed," said Dorothy, who was truly frightened to see that the witch actually melting away like brown sugar before her eyes. "I never thought that a little girl like you would ever be able to melt me and end my wicked deeds. Look out! Here I go!" With these words, the wicked witch fell in a melted, shapeless mass and began to spread all over the kitchen floor. Seeing that she had really melted away to nothing, Dorothy drew another bucket of water and threw it over the mess. Then she swept it out the door after picking out the silver shoe. She cleaned and dried it with a cloth and put it on her foot again. She ran out to tell the lion and the wicked witch of the west had come to an end, and they were no longer prisoners. And the next chapter will be chapter 9. Thank you for listening tonight. Sleep tight and don't let the bed bugs bite. I will see you on the next story, chapter 9, and I hope to end it with the next few chapters. Thank you. Good night.